and surviving, on a consistent basis, I had almost, forgotten how to dream. So it gave me that pause that I needed to say, you know what, leverage this. You can reinvent. You might need to learn new terminology, but you might have something here. So fast forward to now, I'm savvy with it. I'm able to really get numbers and use those numbers to maybe negotiate shows. My shows are different now. I do things like cruises and private events and things that are more mature. But I still have to justify getting paid, and those are, ways that I can. So, yeah, it has been really, really good.
Okay, so being in the 90s, the powerhouse of hip hop, what was it like being signed? Being, a female artist being signed to that label, was it fast paced, or, you can manage it, or how was it?
Fire pace. I never really got to understand how the business worked while I was in it. It was everything that I've learned or been able to crystallize has been in hindsight. But it was so fast paced and so organic, so based on feeling and vibes and relationships. It was, so Wu-Tang, hip-hop ruled in my world. I was an anomaly in that I was an R&B singer on a rap label, and Wu-Tang was so hip-hop. They were just, they didn't even appeal to some blacks or some hip-hop lovers. They were just truly organic and non-traditional. So that was an element. And then having to work with them functionally, things like not being invited to certain hotels in LA because they tore it up the last time, or being invited to Soul Train and the label pulling out all the stops because they had never been invited since they were strictly a rap label. Things like that were just, there were some highs and lows, but the camaraderie, feeling like I still was a part of the collective, having a place, being able to hop on somebody's remix. I mean, all of that was so handshake driven. It wasn't any paperwork involved. Big Pun, I don't know if you remember him.
Oh, yeah.
He was someone who passed, he was signed to the label. He was my fan. I remember being at Tower Records, which is another archaic, thing that you probably would have to look up because there are no record stores now. And he was in line like a fan, ready, waiting for me to greet people. And it was like, the sort of teamwork that I didn't expect. I truly thought that I was going to be compartmentalized. Oh, she sings, we rap, and it wasn't like that. Today, those are my brothers, The record label, though, the heads of the label were descendants of old guard music managers. So the record label president for Loud was the son of James Brown's manager. So he grew up in that world. He knew how to make things happen. He knew which relationships counted. But do know this, everybody at that time was following Russell Simmons. If they had a record label, if they had a deal, if they had a budget, they were doing what Def Jam was doing. They were looking to see what he did first. We led the whole movement. The youth led that, the urban market led that. So don't ever let anybody dissuade you, because you have a lot, because the people, what I'm seeing is the people who have the access to media now are the ones who had the money then, not the ones who were doing the work. And so there's a different story. And that's what's important. You have to find the reality. Like they're talking about David Guetta started dance music.
House music.
It's the same thing with hip-hop. Jay-Z was whack until Biggie died. You know what I mean? It's a small thing, but it's a major example of how the story changes. So, if I had to leave anything with you, do the research. Talk to the common man. Talk to the janitor. Don't just talk to the president, because there's a story in everybody's view or purview. Mine is still, I've forgotten more than I remember. I wish I could encapsulate just the energy, but I can say that it was special because the lessons were learned from that experience. There were no rules. So what we have today is a response to what we learned from that time, which is history. I mean, that's kind of repetitive with anything. Luck and who you know. So it's not all you. You can't like strategize your way to being fit. Look at Ryan Leslie. Yale, was he Harvard grad? Gave tutorials on how to be an artist, produce, travel, what it takes behind the scenes, and can't buy a hit. He knows everything. Look at Faith Evans. She has all of the money, all of the resources, beautiful voice, can't make anything fly. So it's really not talent only or your setup only. But on the same hand, look at Beyonce. She has the master machine behind her, but she's also talented. Could she do that without her setup? You know, those are the questions you have to sort of look at. The journalist's role, the media's role, is almost a third of that person's whole, marketability, like how people talk about it. So, I don't know, but y'all are powerful. You're gonna have opportunities to change views. Read everything.
I know Destiny Childs was coming out around that time, so did you know them or did you have any run-ins with them?
They were like, do we look okay? Oh, we're so nervous. And I'm looking at them like, can I loan $20? Can you loan me $20? So, yes, you just never know. People start out in various places. And we call them the Wycliffe girls. You know, we thought they were just girls Wycliffe. Everybody had an artist. Oh, these are the girls Wycliffe. Now look. So, yeah. It's been 20 years. Wow.
I was going to high school around that
I
time.
know. I know.
So what does that feel like, like seeing your videos, being rotated, video sold, continuous to be played? How does that feel? Like, did you see that coming? Or was it, like, oh my gosh, it's happening?
I didn't, I thought that I was getting local support until I started traveling. I didn't realize I was as big as I was. I didn't realize the magnitude of radio and how my record had traveled. I can't explain it. It was almost like a sense of pride, but then I'm critiquing it because I'm trying to make sure if it's really good or people just follow me because they like flex. So there was some insecurities woven in there, but I felt like I could hold my own. I felt like I could hold my own, and I felt like I was bringing my authentic self to the table. Video Music Box was the first video show that was out. It was on cable. New York didn't get cable, so if you come from the South, you guys were lucky because we didn't have cable. We had 7 or 12 channels, and then if you live in a certain district, typically Manhattan, you get the extra cable channel. We had an option of seeing Donnie Simpson. So he ended up on BET, the guy with the light eyes. Back in the old BET episodes, it's probably way before your time, but they were co-host style, sort of like a man and a female co-host, and they would just introduce videos, and they would have acts come on. But he started off in a grassroots station, and then there was Ralph McDaniels, who did the local hip-hop leg of that, and I started off on those late-night channels, and that's when I started realizing things were picking up because the underground and the mainstream was playing my music. I think my real surprise is when I went overseas and they were singing. They knew every song on the album. We talk about my songs here in the United States, but it was really just the 4 singles. Over there, I had to sing every single song. They knew all the words. I realized the difference in how we are a throwaway culture. When it's not new, over there they respect everything. They were bringing up references to my sound that related to classical artists that I hadn't even connected the dots for. I appreciate that experience. I think being able to travel and embed myself into a foreign culture, even though it was European culture, helped me put America in its perspective. Helped me understand who I was better. In some ways, I was relieved. Thank God I live in a country where it's free. You know what I mean? I don't have to worry about X, Y, Z. But damn, why we water down our stuff? We got old watered down chocolate. We got watered down silk. Everything over there was so luxurious and authentic. And that is also the way they view the consummation of art. You need to keep it real. They want to know who you are in all of your faults, just like Van Gogh and all of the fallacies that, come with great artists. They want to see that in today's artists. So the more ratchet, the better. The more real, the better. Mary could curse everybody out. They were all on guard by the time I got to them, because Mary had cussed them all out. Don't ask me about my mother. Don't ask me about my drinking. Don't ask me, whatever it was. And so they were scared to ask me anything. And here I am, an open book. I'm like, yeah, eager. So it was just, it was an interesting take on how they view Americans. And it shaped my view of myself. I mean, I'm proud, even though we have our faults as a country. I feel like we are the drivers for art, entertainment, and financial acuity. Just capitalism is not all bad. It does drive you to achieve great things, even though non-monetary. So there's some things to be said about that. But I would have gained that if I hadn't had those chances.
Produced and edited by Tristen and Jihirra Jones.